So in this video, I want to talk about a game which I think will be perfect for the Switch, just because this genre isn't really represented on the Switch at this moment in time. So this indie game would have a free hit pretty much. It would have no competition, it would have none of the big games to compete against at this moment in time, and basically that game is Battalion 1944. I always get the name of that wrong. I always say Battalion 1942, but I do believe it is actually called Battalion 1944. For me, that game would be perfect for the Switch just because it is a competitive first-person shooter, and if you look at the Switch library at this moment in time, and if you look at the upcoming games releasing for the Switch, there are no first-person shooters to be seen. The only shooter at the moment is Splatoon 2, and that is a third-person shooter. So there is space for a first-person shooter like Battalion 1944 to come out for the Switch, and I feel like it would sell well just because you wouldn't have a Call of Duty or a Battlefield to compete against. Now, obviously, that could change at E3, but maybe not. Maybe you won't have a first-person shooter to compete against. And yeah, Battalion 1944, it is an indie game, and that would just be a good way just to get the series to sell well to start off with. Like if you're releasing a game for a platform where it doesn't have a game like it on that platform, then you'll have a better chance than competing on PS4 and Xbox One, where you got Call of Duty to compete against, you got Battlefield to compete against, and with PC, this game will be a PC-led development first, so updates will probably be released on PC first and then come out console later, sort of like what Overwatch is doing at this moment in time. But with PC, you've got CSGO to compete against, especially in terms of the competitive first-person shooter genre. So, with Battalion 1944, this is an indie game, and it would just be a good way for them to release on a platform where you got nothing to compete against, and maybe you will start a relationship with the Nintendo fan base. If you do release Battalion 1944, maybe people will pick that game up because there is nothing like it on the Switch at this moment in time, and maybe people will be loyal to that game and pick up the next game that does release. So I feel like it would be beneficial for the Bulkhead, which do develop Battalion 1944. The Bulkhead are based in the UK. I do believe they are based in Derby. So that will just be a good way for them, just because, like I said, you got nothing to compete against. You got a free hit pretty much, and it will just be a good way to start a relationship with Nintendo fans, and maybe that will be harder on the other platforms. So for me, Battalion 1944 would be perfect on the Switch, and you don't even have to do hasty rumble and gyro and mouse control and stuff like that. You can just do the exact same controls on this Switch, because that every single person has a Joy-Con grip, or every person that they can use the Joy-Cons as a normal controller, and not just one of them. You can just use two of them, and you can use them like a normal controller. So you've got two analogs, two triggers. Yeah, you don't have to take advantage of unique abilities that the Switch possesses, but obviously that will be a good way to attract the Switch user base over to your game. But they don't have to do that if they are worried about development costs and the amount of time it would take to make a Switch port. I just feel like this game would be perfect for the Switch, just because, like I said many times, there is nothing like it, and I feel like people would go out and pick this game up because there is no competition there. And this game, people want a World War II shooter. People are sick of these futuristic shooters that are coming out from Activision, like Destiny, and Call of Duty has now gone into the futuristic setting, and also you got Halo as well. So there is a space in the market for a World War II shooter, and that is what people want. People want a boots on the ground experience, and I feel like this game will probably sell well on other platforms. It's just that I feel like this game, it could be massive on the Switch. It could be like it could be like what Gears is to Xbox, just because there is nothing like it on the Switch at this moment in time. And people that do want a first-person shooter experience on the Switch will go with Battalion 1944. And this is an indie game, and this could be a good way to progress your game from being an indie game to being a proper AAA game. And maybe if the first game does sell well on the Switch, then maybe you could have support from Nintendo themselves to bring the game over, like the second game, over to the Switch, just because of how well the first game did sell. At this moment in time, the Bulkhead have said that Battalion 1944 isn't coming out for the Switch, and they haven't given a reason for that. I just feel like it is stupid to roll out this game for the Switch, just because I feel like there is a market there for this sort of game on the Switch, and I feel like I said before, there is an untapped market on the Switch which Battalion 1944 could use to their advantage. It's like they could, like I said before, Battalion 1944 could be, the next. It could be like what Halo is to Xbox. It could be what Gears is to Xbox. Battalion 1944 could be that sort of game for the Switch. It could be massive on the Switch, and I just feel like it is a massive oversight to not bring that sort of experience over to the Switch, especially when you've got no competition there. You've got an untapped market, and I just feel like if they did market the game for the Switch as well as the other platforms that they are bringing the game out for, then I feel like you would attract a lot of Switch owners to the game. And yeah, I think the game itself would benefit. I just feel like the game would sell well on the Switch, and I just feel like them rolling out a Switch port is a massive mistake, just because there is a danger with the other platforms that other games might overshadow this sort of experience, especially, and then you got Call of Duty 2017. That is apparently going back to boots on the ground. Maybe that will be a big competition for Battalion 1944. And like I said, this is an indie game. I know it has recently started, or it recently did join Square Enix Publishing, which is the indie sort of to Square Enix, and I know it does have access to the same marketing team as what Battlefield and Call of Duty does have, but Call of Duty is the more well-known name in this genre. People will be more willing to pick up Call of Duty over a brand new IP. So that is a danger that these devs, face with bringing that game over to the other platforms. I just feel like especially if Call of Duty 2017 doesn't come out for the Switch, which I guess that possibility is real at this moment in time, maybe that will change at E3. But at the moment, Call of Duty isn't coming out for the Switch, and Battalion 1944, it does have that market there for themselves. So yeah, I just feel like this game is perfect for the Switch, and if it did come out for the Switch, then I would pick it up. I really would. And if it did have motion control as well and HD Rumble, then that will just give me an added reason to pick this game up for the Switch. So yeah, that is just it for this video. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section below. Would you want to see Battalion 1944 on the Switch? Do you feel like there is a market there? Or maybe you are thinking, and maybe this is what the Bulkhead is thinking as well, maybe Nintendo fans, maybe they don't want to pick up first-person shooters on a Nintendo platform. But my counter-argument to that is, Call of Duty, like Call of Duty on the Wii, that sold something like 1 million units, like Black Ops Wii, Modern Warfare 3 on the Wii, that sold something like 1 million units, and 1 million units for an indie game, seriously, that could be used to fund your next game. And like I said, 1 million units, that could help to turn your game from being an indie game to being a middle tier to AAA sort of experience. And like I've said many times, Nintendo doesn't have a first person shooter on the Switch, and if Battalion 1944 did come out for the Switch, and like I said, people could treat this like their Killzone, their Halo, their Gears. So yeah, I just feel like Battalion 1944, it would have the potential to sell really well on the Switch. So that is it for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. But until next time, I'm out of here for now. Goodbye.